The Hunger Games series is without a doubt my favorite series of all time. Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a complete series roundup for The Hunger Games. Last month, I finally finished the last book in the series, and I loved it, spoiler. And so I just wanted to do a full video talking about my thoughts on the series, my ranking for them, and just anything to do with the series, including the movies. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick around for more book content. I love sharing unboxing videos, book reviews, reading roundups, and all the fun bookish things. So make sure you're following along. Before I get started sharing my thoughts, be aware that this video will have some spoilers in it for the series as a whole. So if you've not read the series yet, make sure that you wait until you have before you watch this whole video. But if you have seen it, let's chat about it together. So the first three books in the series, the original trilogy, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, I read probably 2013, I think, maybe 2014. I think it was around the time when the second movie came out, and I devoured it. It was so good. I can still remember how I felt at the end of book 2 with that plot twist. I was like, what? It was so good. It's just something I will always remember. So it's always been a series that I've really loved and enjoyed. And even the movies, I watch the movies all the time. They're so well done. When I think about books that have been turned into movies, I think the trilogy did such a fantastic job of staying true to the books. It's just really well done. I think it was the best it honestly could have been. It's honestly one of my favorite book to screen adaptations because it truly was incredible. There was obviously things that were missing from the books to the movies, but nothing that really took away from the story or I felt was left out that really should have been in it. I think it just did a fantastic job. So my ranking for these books, they're all 5-star reads, just easy 5-star reads. And I actually reread the trilogy last year. I was in a little book club and we were rereading the series and it held up. It was just as good the next time around as it was the first time I'd read it. And I had not reread the series before. So it was a really great experience and it just felt so comforting to be back in this book world after having seen the movie so many times and having read the books already before. So yeah, I really loved it. And I think rereading the series before diving into the next two books was the best way to do it because it had the story fresh in my mind. So the next book that came out is the next two books that had come out since the original trilogy. Both are prequels. The first prequel is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This follows President Snow when he was a mentor in the Hunger Games during the 10th Hunger Games that they've done. And it was interesting to see from his perspective, and also the mentee that he had was from District 12, so there were a lot of connections there to the original trilogy. So this one I did read, I had actually started to read it when it first came out in 2020, but I wasn't at a time in my reading journey where I was doing a whole lot of reading, so I think I got halfway through and then didn't pick it back up. So I started it again. I don't know if it was last year or this year. I think it was last year. Anyway, I read it again, or I started it over and read it, did the audio with it, and it was really good. It was interesting. But what I didn't, it was about President Snow, who is a horrific person. And I think that, obviously that was the point of her writing this story, was so we could see the evil behind the man and how he became to be who he was and the bad choices he made that just brought him up to being this horrific leader. So I'll definitely say that this is my least favorite in the series, but still an important read to the story. Now, the recent book that came out was Sunrise on the Reaping, and it took me a while to get to it because I just didn't get to the other one, and I knew I wanted to read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes before and then read this one, which I do think was the best way to go with that. And I read it last month in February. Oh my God, it's already my favorite book of the year. And I don't know if any other book is going to top this one. It was truly incredible. This story follows Haymitch, who is a District 12 victor, and we see him a lot in the original trilogy because he goes along with Katniss and Peeta as their mentor in the Hunger Games, and then he's very involved with them throughout the rest of the series. So it was really interesting to see his story because you kind of know what he's gone through. You know, like the facts about it. You know that he was in a Hunger Games during a quarter quell and that there were double the amount of tributes during his games, but you don't really know what happened. Oh my God. Like, I just was not expecting the story to unfold the way that it did. It was heartbreaking. I like finished the book and felt like gutted and destroyed and just hollow inside. But I liked it. I know that sounds weird, but I like when a book can make me feel so bone deep, and that's how this book made me feel. It was truly, truly incredible. And I will say that I did an immersive read with the audio, and the audio was fantastic. I think that the actor that they had doing the narration for Haymitch was like phenomenal. I thought he did a great job, like really capturing the voice of Haymitch as a younger character. It was just so well done. And I will say that while Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes did have some Easter eggs from the original trilogy, Sunrise on the Reaping had even more. Like, I was so shocked. It was so great to see like certain characters who we knew or like reference certain things that had happened. Honestly, not even just in the original trilogy, but even some things in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I thought was really cool. And I will say that there was one Easter egg that totally went over my head. Like, there is a character in here who is actually Katniss's mom. And I didn't even like clock that the first time reading it. I like was thinking about it after the fact and I was like, wait, what was her name? Did she mentioned in the book? And of course she was mentioned in the book. Like, I can't believe I missed that. But anyway, so fantastic. Just absolutely incredible. Now I thought we would go through my official ranking of all of the books in the series from number 5 to number 1. So in the number 5 spot, I have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like I said before, I just didn't really connect much with the story of President Snow. I think that was the point. And I appreciate that, and I think it's such a good part of the story. It just definitely wasn't my favorite in the series just because he's such a horrible character. And this is the only book in the series that I gave 4 stars. The rest of the books all got 5 stars. In the number 4 spot, I have Mockingjay. Now this is like obviously the final book in this trilogy, and it was so incredible, but it just wasn't my favorite in the series. I loved like a lot of the war aspects to it and everything going on, but there were just other things in the other books that I enjoyed more. In the number 3 spot is Hunger Games, the first book in the series. This book does such a fantastic job of setting up this world and really helping you connect with these characters, connect with this world, and feel really invested in everything that's going on. In second place is Sunrise on the Reaping. Like I said, I loved this book so freaking much. It was just absolutely incredible. All the feels. I love how this book made me feel just so deeply. And not every book can do that. So it really was a mark of how amazing Suzanne Collins' writing is to make you feel so gripped to these characters, especially in a series where you know the characters, but you don't know them quite in this way. It was just so incredible. And then my favorite book in the series is Catching Fire. I just love this book so much because it really is the start of the revolution in a really big way. Of course, in the first book, like there's some sprinkling in throughout, like where it's really setting up the revolution, but this story right here is really where you get all these people coming together and fighting and just starting to like take that step to becoming a revolution, and it's just so well done. And I will say too that like I know, there's a lot of discourse about like Peeta versus Gale, and I have to say, I'm on Team Gale. I don't know. Maybe that'll get me some hate, but that's just how I feel. So this book here has a lot of Gale in it, and I really enjoyed that part and enjoyed like the relationship between him and Katniss and like how they worked together. I just really love their relationship, and I will say that like while I kind of don't have like, when I think about Team Peeta versus Team Gale, I honestly think that Katniss would have been better on her own. I don't think she actually needed to be with either of them. I think she either could have just been on her own or found somebody else to be with. I just think that maybe neither of them were really right for her. But as a character, I do like Gale a lot better. And I like the friendship between him and Katniss a lot more as well. I think they work really well together, whereas I think her and Peeta were really thrust into something that started on a lie and not authentic. And that just, to me, I don't know, I couldn't really get on board with it. But anyway, this book is just absolutely incredible and just does something to me that makes me just feel so empowered. I loved it so much. One thing I will say as I was reading this is, if you think about the political climate that we're in right now, these books are a really great representation of what can happen to a world that ends up becoming like a dictatorship, or just these people who are completely devoid of any kind of support with, like, from the government or anything like that. It's such a good representation of it. And I think that there are so many people who don't get it. I don't know why. I think people, they can read fiction and not relate it to the real world. I don't know how, but they must, because I don't know how people can read these books and not understand and connect what's happened here to what is happening in our world. And honestly, kind of what I hate to put this all on Suzanne Collins, but what I think would be a really great story for her to do is to do something that's sort of like the start of Panem. Like, what caused the revolution? Like, I mean, they talk about it, especially more so in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But I think that having a book where we can actually see the things that led up to it and the things that happened, I think we would see a lot of parallels in that and to what is happening now and what has happened in our current world. And I think that, I would hope it would open a lot of people's eyes, but just to see that and like see it on the page and be like, wait, this kind of sounds familiar, I think it would be really impactful. So, I mean, I don't think Suzanne Collins is ever going to see this video, but if she does, I think it's a great idea. I would love to read that. And honestly, I've kind of thought about it, and it doesn't even need to be like a full story about like one single character. I think sort of like a collection, what's that word called? I don't know, but like a collection of different stories, like a bunch of short stories about different people during the revolution or during like the downfall of the world, like from different districts, or like just to see like different perspectives, just sort of like a collection of stories about different people in this world. I think that would be a really cool aspect that would, I would hope, like I said, be impactful to people and like help people understand like how all of this came to be. It'd just be something really interesting. So that's what I had thought about particularly after reading Sunrise on the Reaping, given the current climate that we live in. Now let's talk about the movies. I honestly can't say too much, of course, because Sunrise on the Reaping isn't out yet, but I am so excited. Like, the casting for it is phenomenal. Like, I think they did a fantastic job of casting the people in these roles. And like, before I read the book, I looked up the casting so I could like have a picture in my head of who these people were, and it fit. It was perfect. No notes at all. And of course, I've seen the original trilogy, like I said. I have not seen the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes yet. After I had finished reading the book, it's not streaming anywhere, or it wasn't at the time. I think it is now. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. But I mean, because it's not like my favorite book, I haven't like been drawn to do it. I don't really watch a whole lot of like TV and movies much anymore. So finding the time to do it when I'm like doing so much reading is just, I need to prioritize it. And I will say that while I think that Sunrise on the Reaping did a good job of casting the characters, I'm not so sure how I feel about the casting for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, I don't know, maybe I have to see it to really understand, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it. And I think that was like a general consensus when that movie came out, so I'm not sure. I will report back after I've seen both movies. Maybe I'll do like another little wrap-up review about it, because yeah, I just love this series so much. I like was thinking about it after reading Sunrise on the Reaping. I was thinking a lot about the whole series now that I like finished what's been out already, and it truly is my favorite series of all time. Like, even like Harry Potter, because I mean, Harry Potter is such a nostalgic series for me, and like I love it so much. But The Hunger Games, it's top tier for me. Like, it is just absolutely incredible, completely holds up. Like, it's so good. Especially after having reread it, I can just confirm that it's incredible. It's amazing. I honestly want to reread it again, because why not? Well, I hope you enjoyed chatting about The Hunger Games with me. It's my favorite. I loved it so much. I loved talking about it. And if you have any comments, thoughts, anything, sound off in the comments. Let's talk about it. I can't talk about it enough. Thanks so much for watching, besties. I'll see you next time.